Hi, my name is Anna Hopkins, and we are on FrConventions. Well, the truth is that most of us just, as actors, we audition, right? We don't usually choose. But I originally auditioned, and I was worried that at the time they were looking for somebody who was much older. And originally I did the audition and they said, we liked it, but we're going in a really different direction. So I sadly said goodbye to the role. And a few weeks later, they told me, we loved the tape so much, and we think that we can change the role so that you can play it. So we ultimately, decided that Lilith, of course, is a demon. So she would choose any, person that she would want to serve. So it doesn't really matter, what age she was. She was, frankly, to me, one of the best written villains ever, because she was in search of her son. So I think that just created this amazing fire and drive for her that you don't often see with female villains. I certainly remember my first day because the first thing I ever shot was the scene where I'm covered in head to toe black makeup as if I'm coming out of the ground. And I had to get to know our makeup artist, Brian, very quickly because he came into the shower at the hotel where we were and painted my whole body. And, I hadn't met anybody at this point, but everyone made it amazing. It was a great first day. I think it was, once I met Luke, it was very, very easy. He has a great sense of humor, and we both have a little bit of a dark humor. So we also really thought it was hilarious that I was 1 year older than him in real life. So we just totally embraced the strange, dark, relationship. And Luke is such a wonderful person that we became friends immediately. So I think it was very easy to do. Yeah, I really enjoyed that the character of Lilith is a character that has appeared throughout history and has been used in various storytelling ways, which is it's extra fun to kind of read and sort of dive into all of the iconography and the snakes and the owls and how all of those pieces fit together. So that was really, really interesting to do. And then just bringing my own take to it was really fun as well. So ultimately it was one of the more creative ventures that I got to do. I think with Jace, I think that was really interesting because, it was a level of manipulation that was, manipulation, but for a very good reason, so that was very complex to play. And then all the other characters throughout, there was always a different flavor with every character, but ultimately she was still manipulating everybody, so. Yeah, I'm Valentine, I think. There was originally a scene that was written that we all had read for Lilith and Valentine to have a very big sort of meeting. And I just thought, that would have been amazing. And to sort of see them sort of work out their family history together could have been really fun. Ultimately, they're, generally with the scripts, they're overwritten a little bit, and for timing they have to cut certain things. And that scene was purely like it was a curiosity for the writers and of course for the audience, but they had to cut it because it didn't push the plot forward. You know, it was something that was just something like special, but they had to ultimately cut it. Yeah, I mean, I would say that first scene was really challenging. It was, you know, November in Toronto. It was very cold. We were in a very, very old church that was not really well heated, and I was covered in goo. And it was such an important introduction to the character that we shot many, many angles, many versions. So the stamina that it required to do that. And then right after that, so that was the first half of the day, after that was we shot the first scene in the episode, which is when she's in the hospital. Where she's like looking at the babies. So we had to wash off the entire thing, which took like 2 hours. It was so hard to get off. I had to look completely clean and then redress and then go back to the hospital and sort of reintroduce Lilith. So that was a really, really challenging. It's amazing. I couldn't have guessed that it would, you know, work out that way. Of course, anytime you enter into a show that's already happening, there's a level of insecurity where you're unsure how people will receive you, especially if you are coming in, you know, creating chaos for all of the beloved characters. So it's really touching that people still liked Lilith, even though she was kind of ruining the lives of all these people that they love. I mean, I think it's not that common. I think like there's probably a few different reasons that everybody in the cast is a really great person. And I think everyone has a really good sense of humor. So I think that that's something that really helps create that sort of light experience. And you know, we were all in Toronto. The crews in Toronto are fantastic. The city is so welcoming to everybody. So I think, you know, you have a really nice bond to start with, and that never really goes away, even if you haven't seen each other in many years.